Nottinghamshire had the better of the opening day of an LV County Championship match in Liverpool, which has important ramifications at both ends of the First Division table, with Lancashire trying to avoid the drop and the visitors looking to edge ahead of the rest at the top of the charts. It was the visitors who won the toss on what looked to be a good day to bowl in, but Andrea Agathangalou, preferred in the side at the expense of Alex Davis, looked to get off to a good start with an early boundary. Luke Fletcher picked up the first wicket of the day in the 6th over by catching the edge of Agathangalou's bat, sending him on his way for 11. Usman Khawaja proved how tough it was to bat by spending 14 balls trying to get off the mark, and to his 15th he edged Andre Adams to Stephen Mullaney in the gully. Nottinghamshire's four-pronged pace attack all did a good job. Harry Gurney got his name in the wicket column by having Paul Horton take a behind for 17, with the score on 45 for 3 after 18 overs. 4 balls later, it was 45 for 4, as Ashwell Prince gave Mullaney his second catch of the morning off Adams, who was bowling especially well. This was just the start Chris Reed would have wanted after winning the toss, and it would have been even better had Stephen Croft not been dropped at slip by Samit Patel, a catch he would normally take in his sleep. Adams, who was not at his very best when his side lost to Warwickshire a couple of weeks ago, was causing one problem after another here. He found the edge of Joss Butler's bat only for the ball to fall a fraction short of the slips. If anything, Nottinghamshire hadn't made the most of their opportunity in the morning, a session which ended with Lancashire fighting back through Butler and Croft. Butler, of course, was close to making his Test debut at Trent Bridge last week, when Matt Pryor struggled with an injury, while Croft is batting as well as he ever has in the first-class game. The two of them went after the ball when they could, and by the time that lunch arrived, they'd recovered their side's position by taking the total to 81 for 4. It hadn't really balanced the game up, but it had meant that the morning wasn't a disaster for Lancashire. And the improvement continued after the break, with both batsmen playing brightly in the sunshine in Aigburth, the ground which became so important to Lancashire when they lifted the trophy back in 2011. They played most of their games here that year while Old Trafford was being redeveloped. Peter Siddle was playing his last game of the summer for Notts and thought that he'd broken this annoying stand with a big LBW shout against Butler. Instead, it was Fletcher who was able to celebrate after Croft on 32 was very well held very low down by Alex Hales at third slip. That ended an important 5th wicket partnership of 80 runs in 21 overs, but Butler kept going against a team he's often done very well against in all forms of the game. His 50 here arrived off 83 balls and was reached with his 8th 4. It was the 6th time that the keeper has made it that far in a Lancashire shirt. At the other end, Tom Smith had arrived and looked to continue the form, which has carried him to second place in the FTI MVP rankings this season, just behind Kent's Darren Stevens. Smith had carried the total to 150 with Butler, when the latter rather undid his good work with a loose drive off Gurney that landed in the hands of Adams at mid-off, although it was still a good catch. Nottinghamshire would have hoped to keep their hosts' first innings total to something around the 200 mark from this position, but then Glenn Chappell came in to do what he's been doing to opponents for many years. He played his shots to hold the visitors up. This was the pick of them, a drive off Samit Patel down the ground and over the rope for a 6. With Smith again going well, these two were able to add 50 runs for the 7th wicket to bring up the 200 and a batting bonus point for Lancashire, something that had looked unlikely earlier on in the day. Chappell on 38 then clipped a ball from Patel to James Taylor at mid-wicket, and the rest followed fairly quickly. Smith, who'd made 32, top-edged a short-arm pull off Adams, who turns 39 this week and was well held by Hales running back from the slips. Kyle Hogg drove Siddle on the up, but found Adams at mid-off before Simon Kerrigan was bowled for a duck by Adams shortly before he was recalled into the England Test squad. With Adams taking 4 for 45, Lancashire were all out for 225, and Nottinghamshire had 24 overs left in the day to try to make the most of their bowlers' efforts. Hales struck that early boundary while Mullaney was given a life when he was dropped at mid-on by Kabir Ali off Chappell, The batsman walking to tell you that it should have been held. Hogg decided not to use the fielders to get shot of Hales for 8. The batsman hit on the back pad in front of his stumps. Mullaney, meanwhile, was living something of a charmed life. A cut off Smith being parried by Horton at slip. Mullaney, born in Warrington, spent 3 seasons at Lancashire, and the best score of his career of 165 not out was made for the county back in 2007. He's made the most of his time at Nottinghamshire and is now a pivotal member of the team, batting up and down the order as requested to help them out. He drove the ball really well here as he dominated the scoring, as Michael Lum, back after missing the last month with an arm injury, settled in. Mullaney was dropped for a 3rd time, however, before the close, this time by Hogg in the deep off Kerrigan's second delivery. The spinner will hope to be playing Test cricket again in the next few days and will soon leave this match. Thanks to those fielding mishaps, Nottinghamshire ended the day on 69 for 1, with Mullaney making 48 of those runs in his hour-and-a-half stay at the crease. Lum made 8 in an hour. They've set up the second day nicely for their team, which will resume with them trailing by 156 runs and with lots of in-form batsmen still to come.